People, what up, what up, what up? It's me, L Teddy 27, Angry Teacher Chronicles, and we are here yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Another great episode, David Makes Man, Season 1, Episode 6. Oh, y'all. Great episode, y'all. So we start off with Ray is having, we get this flashback of Ray when Ray was younger. He doesn't have, as my girl Really BTV says, the Kool-Aid dreads in his head. And he's a young boy, and we see, and in the chat, if it wasn't last week, it was week before last, in the comments section, we were talking about wanting to get a little bit of the backstory of Ray, and we get a little bit here. We find out that Ray didn't grow up in the Ville. Ray grew up in an affluent neighborhood where his people had money and he was privileged and had, and so Sky, got Ray's mom pregnant. Ray's mom liked her little hood boy, and Sky, Ray's dad, is from the Ville. Ray ain't from no Ville. Ray from the nice neighborhood, and we see, his dad brought him the car, but he has these goals, these pull out goals that he has in his mouth, and he goes to go see his dad because his mom, when he leaves his house, the mom says, make sure you find you a job today. He's like, yeah, I am. Anyway, he goes to the school that he goes to, which you can tell is a nice school in a nice area, or at the school he used to go to or whatever. And he sees this girl he liked, I guess, and she paid him dust. Anyway, he goes to the Ville, meets up with Sky. Sky tells him basically, hey, don't be coming up around here trying to act like you all hard and shit, and we know you ain't hard. The people will sniff that a mile away, trying to act like you hood, knowing you ain't hood. Trust me, those of us who grew up in the hood trying to do everything we can to get up out of the hood. Anyway, so then we're back to the present, and you see Ray. He's, up in the courtyards of the Ville, and he almost see, because when at the end of the flashback, you could tell Ray wasn't hood. Ray didn't belong. This wasn't where he should be. But then when we fast forward to the present, it looks like he was born and raised in the Ville. Like he's born and raised in the ghetto, born in the ghetto, raised in the hood in the Ville. And he's not. And so what a difference, time makes, because if we had not gotten that backstory, we might still think that, he was from that area, because, in the present day, it looks like he belongs. So next we're at the school. The recruiters from Hurston are there. The reps and recruiters from Hurston are there, and they're in Dr. Woods Trap's class. And they have all the boys in there. There's only boys in there. So, and there's this white lady. She's there talking to them, and she's asking them, what do they like to do outside of school? Like, what are their hobbies? And so we start off with this white guy talking about football, and you could tell the recruiter didn't like that answer. So she asks Saren, and Saren talks about liking music. His mom plays piano. She asks him if he plays piano. He says, no, I like to sing, mainly at church. And Saren says, she asks him, is he a tenor? He says, no, I'm a baritone. And Saren's he's really almost apprehensive with his answers. It's kind of like when he started off his project for Dr. Woods Trap, and he seemed self-conscious of himself. He seemed like he was unsure of himself. And I want to say this. I remember being in middle school, and I remember being unsure of myself like Saren. I always felt like, because I think we're leading towards Saren perhaps being gay. And I remember being Saren's age, and I was self-conscious like that. I was a nerd. I was smart. I could sing, all of that good stuff. Because my whole family can sing. My entire family sings. Anyway, I remember that uneasiness about myself. And it's with me at the time, I had not yet figured out my whole sexuality and everything. But I kind of see parts of my, past self in Saren. And I know what that's like. And I just remember, once you kind of get in the groove and get in the pocket, you're good to go. But, it's that starting process where you start to hear your own voice, and you maybe don't like the sound of your voice, or you don't like your mannerisms, or you don't like your how you are versus how some other of your peers are, who are a lot more self-assured and a lot more confident about who they are. And so I see that in Saren. And it just really stuck out to me. David then helps Saren out. And David chimes in for Saren. He speaks up for Saren, and he talks about how great of a singer Saren is. And so um Dave, and that makes the recruiter lady ask David what he likes to do. And David gives this phenomenal answer about, having to, grow up fast, and having to be, an adult and take care of his son, and how it's in him to work hard, and how excellence is a part of who he is. I mean, just a phenomenal answer. And then he did the David thing. He put on that magnetic smile. He has this infectious smile about him. There's this magnetism that you notice about David, where everybody who's around David is gravitates toward him. And so he puts on that magnetic smile, and you can't help but want to, believe whatever he's selling, or buy whatever he's selling, I should say. So that was great. That's the one great thing about David. David knows how to sell himself. And he was very well spoken. He was great in his answer. Glo goes to the unemployment office to file for unemployment. She'll have her social security card. So the lady was like, listen, you ain't got no social security card. She was like, I've been waiting here for how many hours? Baby, you ain't got one. You can go and get you one and come back another time. So Glo is starting to see this ain't gonna be easy. She done wasted all her time at this unemployment office. Ain't got no social security card. And so that's just how it is. I don't know about in other cities. I'm sure it is like that in other cities, but I can attest from Miami. That is exactly how the well, I don't know about the unemployment office, but certain public offices where you get public services and assistance from the government they don't have no understanding for you, none. So then we see Glo goes home. She done bought a few groceries, and she got the bags, and she's still limping magically, when last week she was jumping rope. Anyway, Glo Ray helps Glo up the stairs. And he grabs her bags and he helps her out. I should also say, when Ray was walking through the courtyard, he saw JG's LeBron shoes that he got from his granddad, and Ray was like, I like those shoes, JG. Bookmark that. And he asked him for the shoes, and JG was like, nah. And so anyway, fast forward, Ray is helping Glo up the stairs with the groceries and stuff. And so on his way, when he got to the door, he gives her this packet of oxycodones, or some kind of prescription drugs. So he puts it in her hand. He said, listen, if you need more of that, let me know. Let David know, and I can get them to you. Gloria calls her mom. She's looking. She has JG looking through this bag, yellow bag or yellow folder for the Social Security card. She's looking through some stuff. She calls her mom, tells her mom, "Can you look in your house to see if I left my Social Security card there?" Mom don't see it for Glow. Glow ends up telling the mom that she lost her job. Mom says, "Why you ain't tell me that?" This, that, and the third. Mom start quoting Bible verses and blaming Glow and all this, that, and the third. Mom ain't no help. JG overhears his mom talking about going to the unemployment office and not being able to pay rent. So while Glow is over there looking through some stuff, JG done left the house. Okay, JG done walked all the way out. Then we see David and Marissa. They're talking at the school. And David, and she's telling JG, listen, you need to, she already got one of her recommendations for Hurston, and she's going to start to work on Dr. Woodstrap. And she's reminded David, hey, David, you ain't even started working on Dr. Woodstrap, and you only got 2 weeks left. And she'll just write recommendations from anybody. You can't do it at the last minute. And so David, realizes that he has to get on the ball with that. So then David has this daydream. I think they're in the cafeteria. But before they start this conversation, you see David is having this daydream about Dr. Woodstrap basically coming down on him for talking about the struggle of growing up in the hood and having to grow up fast and having to take care of his brother and all that he goes through with his mom. And basically, he daydreams of Dr. Woodstrap saying that he's debasing the race, or he's debasing black people. And David's in his head because he thinks that it wasn't a good look, and Dr. Woodstrap is not going to like or appreciate what he had to say to this white lady recruiter. So then we see JG with Starry. JG done went and sold the shoes to Ray. Starry goes with JG because JG got all his money now, and they put the money in the envelope and put it in the box, the cash box outside of the rent office. Ain't nobody at the rent office. So they put it in the cash box outside the rent office. And they put it in the cash box outside the rent office. And Starry, kind of helps JG do that. So they leave it there. JG comes home and goes to the house and he tells Glow what he did, the fact that he sold his bronze to Ray in order to get the money for the rent. So Glow has this conversation with JG about why would all the good, bads, and uglies about doing that. And she tells him, listen, don't tell David. Because she already knew David is going to lose it. JG is turning into a whole ass thug, okay? I told y'all this a couple episodes ago. JG is a whole ass thug. So next we see Saren, David, and Marissa. They're in the hallway. David asks Saren about what's going on, about Hurston. Saren ain't trying to hear it. Something's going on at Saren, and I'm sure it's something from home. But Saren is not in a good place. He is not in a good place at all. And so Saren storms off. Marissa yells at David, oh, it's not all about you. It's not about you. This, that, and the third. Why would you ask him about Hurston? It's not always about you. Marissa, she be out of pocket most of the time. She just be out of pocket. I mean, Marissa is always, out of. I don't know about you, Marissa. So Glow goes down to talk to the lady. I don't remember the lady's name. Start with an H or something like that. The rent lady. She goes to the rent lady house to talk to her about the rent and to make sure she got it. Come to find out, she ain't got nothing. She said, I went there, wasn't nothing in there. A lot of people steal from that. You know how many people steal from that box? And so the rent lady was like, how I know your son put it in there? If your son big enough to put the rent money in there, he big enough to get a receipt. And she was like, but y'all was closed. Baby. Glow says y'all was closed. Baby, the rent lady don't care. Um Turn to the side, and Glow tries to reason with her and tell her all about the hardship she's going through trying to raise her boys and the fact that life ain't easy. And the red lady was like, hell, you know what the hell you at? Yeah, life ain't easy for none of us. All us got shit going on. Meanwhile, off to the side is David, who overhears the entire conversation. Okay, baby David went up in that house, and to me, this was the most powerful scene. One of the most powerful scenes in the episode. There's this big confrontation. David goes and confronts JG about where you got this money from. JG tells him he sold the shoes to Ray, this, that, and the third. David is yelling. Glow comes in. Glow was like, oh, da 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 da. He was just trying to help out, this, that, and the third. David is reminding her, say, listen, he done got Ray involved, which is going to get me involved. And so David is yelling at his mom, like, okay, like, I need you to be a mom. What the hell were you? Why weren't you there to stop him? You just let him go down and do this? And so the mom throws it back at him and say, where were you? And this scene almost took me out because I saw the tears welling up in David's eyes, and they almost got me, y'all. But I ain't let them get me. Because you saw this big argument between David and his mom. And the mom at one point said, do you know who you're talking to? And so David is in this spot where, yeah, he's in 8th grade, but he's had to be an adult all this time. And so, to a certain degree, and I understand it, he kind of feels like, okay, yeah, I can come in and I can have this uncomfortable conversation with you because I've had to be the one that's been doing all of the parenting and looking out and all of this stuff all of this time. And so now you just gonna let him go do this? This is not how this works. Somebody got to look after him. So there was this just uncomfortable conversation between David and his mom. JG then finds the prescription drugs either in his mom's purse or over on the table or something like that. He says, what's this? David tells his mom to call the school. David tells his mom to call the school to get more counseling sessions. Now, at first, I thought David was trying to deflect from this big argument that they had. But and we'll get there in a few minutes. We later find out that's not what it was. So David was like, and she was like, why do you want to go? And he was like, because it helps me. And you told me that you need me to try and deal with stuff. And I'm just trying to deal with it. And David has this way of doing this just to kind of deflecting and, finding ways to deflect his mom from addressing issues he doesn't want to address anymore. And so he does that in this instance. Now, next we see the mom tells David, don't worry, I'm good. I'm going to go to a meeting, one of her meetings for Narcotics Anonymous, NA. So David goes downstairs to go confront Ray. David is all ready to pop off. He goes to tell Shinobi, go get him. Shinobi was like, who you talking to? You don't get no demands, Ryan, this, that, and the third. Ray overhears, and Ray was like, yes, don't worry about it. I got David. If David want me to come down, we'll come down. So David tells Ray, listen, stay away from my family. My family don't need to be involved in none of this, that, and the third. And Ray says, listen, I'm just here to help. I'm here to help. I bought the shoes from your brother, gave him enough money for the rent. I gave that to Miss Glow because she in pain. She been hurting, and I'm just here to help. She don't get it from me. She gonna get it from somewhere. And so Ray just tries to reassure David, listen, I'm not the bad guy here. Then we got David. David is figuring, I got to find some way. David is still trying to figure out a good and right way to make all this happen. So he goes over there to the rent office to see maybe if it dropped out the box, or if there's some way he can find what happened to the rent. And while he's looking there in this, I guess, house or abandoned house or a room or whatever, off to the side, he sees through the window, he sees Tara, and she's over there dancing. Um, and she looks great as a dancer. I mean, she is a phenomenal dancer, and David is kind of mesmerized. You can see he still kind of likes her. He's kind of entranced with her. So then David has this dream, and you see these walls and things. I think they were walls or something there. He's in the middle of the little um, yard in the back behind the grass area in the back, and these walls start coming up, and you hear Sky during the dream in saying, "David, you need to make a choice. David, you need to make a choice." And we're going to see that David ends up making a choice. And it's like the walls are coming in around him. It seems like the walls are caving in on him. And David needs to make a choice. David then goes, I talked about that. Gloria then goes to the Social Security office. Remember I told you she needed the Social Security card. She goes to the Social Security office. And the man said, "Listen, this birth certificate, some of the letters are faded. I can't make it out. It's not gonna work out legally. I need a good one." She said, "But here you go. You can see this is my social. I mean my name." And she even pulls out a pay stub and see my name and my Social Security card. It matches. That's me. He was like, "Listen, legally, that ain't gonna work. So it's gonna take you about 4 weeks to go get this new one, girl. Or if you expedite, it's gonna take 2." And she was like, "I don't have that much time." She goes outside. She's just frustrated because this big girl behind her was like, "You need to hurry up and get out the line." She was like, "Not today." And big girl looked at her like, "Okay, you want it?" Because big girl looked a lot bigger than you, Glow. She looked like she might have took you down, beat you all the way down. Then you see security in the back look like they locked and loaded with their gun and stuff as well. So Glow backs down and keeps it pushing. So she sees she's going to be met with resistance during this whole process of trying to get government assistance. She then picks up the phone and um, you see her dialing the number for her boss or her former boss, Jay, down at the job. So then we see David goes to the principal's office. He meets up with the principal. He asks the principal, did his mom call? And the principal starts this whole conversation about, "Oh, David, you can talk to me if there's anything going on at home." She asks him if he ate. She asks him if, he had breakfast and if the rent is paid and if the lights are on, all this, that, and the third. David, tells her everything is okay. And then the principal says she'll decide if he can get the extra sessions because she said his mom did call it. And I didn't like that whole, "Oh, I'll decide if you get extra sessions," because in education, I don't care if they faking, lying, or whatever. When a child tells you, "I need to talk to the counselor," unless you're in the middle of class and you're in the middle of giving work and now they want to go to the counselor, then you don't do that. But if it's after school or before school or in the middle of class, they not in class, and they tell you they want to, you give that child a counselor. There's no, "Oh, I'll decide." It's like she was saying, "Oh, I'll decide if it's important enough to warrant you going back to the counselor." And I thought that was the wrong answer. So then we see Gloria goes to this Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and you see that she does all this venting. She is venting. She is getting it all out. She's just letting it all out and talking about just everything that's happened with her. And this is just a way for Glow to just, it's therapeutic for her. It allows her to just get it all. And she talked about, "I almost called my ex-boss and allowed him to do horrible things to me in order to get the money I need to make ends meet." So I like that she decided not to take the pills and she decided to go to the meeting and vent and get it all out. Then we see David's in class. David is still daydreaming and talking to himself and so forth. Marissa taps him and say, "Hey, you doing it again. You talking to yourself." Because obviously David is now having these psychological episodes everywhere now. It's not just when he's by himself. He's doing it in a class full of students now. Saren reminds David about church. Marissa bumps all in. Y'all know Marissa is always out of pocket. Marissa is bumping all in, talking about, hey, can I go? Can I go? And David's like, no, you cannot go. You cannot go. It's for men's day, and this is for men. And then that's when he says back to her what she said about to him. It's not always about you. So, he shuts Marissa all the way down. David then goes up to Dr. Woodstrap's desk because Marissa done reminded him that he needs to work on this recommendation because she already got hers from Dr. Woodstrap. David goes up there trying to ask Dr. Woodstrap about this recommendation. And right before he gets to ask her, the phone rings and it's Dr. Bree, the counselor, saying that David needs to come there at the end of class for a session. Dr. Woodstrap say, once you're done with your work, I'll let you leave early and you can go. David then goes over to Dr. Woodstrap's office. And Dr. Woodstrap is talking to David. David ain't paying Dr. Woodstrap no mind, okay? No mind at all. Not Dr. Woodstrap, Dr. Bree. David ain't paying Dr. Bree no mind. And I think he asked David, or maybe David was daydreaming where Dr. Bree asked him about Jaime and Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. And I was like, well, where did that come from? Anyway, so the counselor was like, well, why did you sign up for more sessions? You like hearing me talk to myself? Because basically saying you ain't talking to me. And so David was like, well, maybe, you could give me something to eat and maybe that'll help me out. He said, can I get you a Kit Kat from the vending machines? He says, yes. So obviously the vending machine is a little bit away because David knew that he was going to have to walk away for a while. As soon as he leaves, David looks to see if he gone. And what does David do? David looks at that pad of prescription drugs pad that Dr. Bree had to write his prescriptions. That tablet pad. So then we see Glow after the meeting for Narcotics Anonymous. This white lady is, having, a hard time at it. Glow goes up to her and hands her secretly or covertly some of the prescription drugs she had. And the lady covertly hands her some money, a wad of money. And she was like, it's okay. Sometimes you just need to do what you got to do to make it through. And so Glow takes the money and keeps it pushing. So then, I think I missed the part. Yeah. So then we see Glow goes to the rent lady and gives the rent lady part of the money for the money that she got from the white lady. She gives the rent lady that money and says, give me some more time. So the rent lady gives her 2 more weeks, okay? But one thing that I noticed was out on, because JG was watching with Starry, his mom, do all of this explanation with the rent lady and explain everything. So JG was like, I did all this thing to try and handle business and it still ain't work out. I want to see more about this budding relationship and friendship between JG and Starry, because these seem like the most 2 unassuming individuals to have this friendship. But there is certainly a budding friendship here with JG and Starry. So finally, David's coming home from school. Starry is with him the whole walk home, and David's like, now is not a good time. And so once again, Starry's continuing to have this conversation, and the entire time walking up to the house, every now and again Starry would start to fade and fade. And this goes back to when, not Starry, damn, Sky. keep saying Star. Sky is having this conversation, but Sky, intermittently will fade and then come back and fade and come back. And this was a part of David realizing the nature of his situation. And if you remember that dream he had about the walls closing in on him and Sky saying, you need to make a decision, this was that time when David had to make a decision. And David had to decide, am I going to try to handle this the right way or am I going to handle this the wrong way? And he made his choice. So what happens is you see Sky, he's standing there in the hallway leading up to where Ray lives. Sky fades, and through the smoke of Sky fading away emerges Ray. It was such a great visual there, so symbolic, such a great visual. Ray emerges out of this the smoke of Sky fading away, and Ray takes David. And I forgot to talk about it because David tried to push Sky away, but Sky's not there. So what happens? Ray tried to push him and he falls. And out of his book bag falls out the prescription drug tablet. Pad from Dr. Bree. Now I don't know if I hope David stole the whole pad, because Dr. Bree, if you stole, because it looked pretty thick, and if he stole that amount of the pad, he's going to know David. He's going to know David probably took it anyway, because I'm sure he knows where he left it. But I want to see what comes out of this when he goes back to school and Dr. Bree figures out that his pad is gone. And so we end the episode. Oh, and I wanted to talk about David, when David asked his mom for the extra to sign him up for the extra counseling sessions, it was at that point that David knew, I got to do something, do what I got to do. I need to get, because remember he looked at that prescription drug pad a couple episodes ago. So now he's going to act on it. He wants these counseling sessions not for the right reasons, but for the reason of trying to get that prescription drug pad. So then we see David walks off with Ray. And basically, he's made his choice. He got to make a deal with the devil to make ends meet. And obviously, he's going to, be with the dope boys and sell or do what he got to do to make the money. And that was the end of the episode. And it was another great episode, y'all. I'm so in love with the show. It's such great acting, such great writing, and so forth. Y'all know it's that time. It's the end of the video. And so it's now time for us to get in these good comments. Get in this comment section and argue about what we saw, about what we thought, and everything in between. I'll catch y'all in the comment section, and we'll be back next week. That's all I got for y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all drive safely.